now we will watch this one. Timeline of the 40k universe by Trazyn the Infinite.
My life's work. My museum. Our gallery. Within these halls sits the galaxy's most comprehensive collection of artifacts in existence. I have spent my long years cataloging the entire culture of all the beings I could, from the dawn of time to the present day. Within these halls are libraries, containing the last known words of countless races who have been cast to the harsh, uncaring winds of time. Truth be told, there are more galleries in my museum than a mortal could wish to visit in several lifetimes. Each hall is dedicated to a great empire and their achievements, but also their faults and inevitable demise.
That's from Seroarrt?
The history of the universe is filled with such empires, their names forever carved on the steel of time. There are others who accomplished little with their gift of life, their existences being short, painful, blighted tales. The tales of history are only reserved for those who earn the right to write them. I will show the halls of my library to guide you on the story of all of time. As we start from the dawn of all existence.
Oh, Stim didn't have any issues with it? Oh, okay. Yeah, it can always be turned into a separate video later.
Density, temperature, a singularity, initiating the expansion. Primordial gas and cosmic dust sent into eternity to become everything we know or ever will.
I actually really prefer this gentle narration. I think it inspires a sense of cosmic awe that very much suits the setting of Warhammer.
Gravity is the key to it all. Gravity birthed the stars. It connects the galaxies,
it says literally by
guiding them in motion to their inevitable orbits. That haunting cosmic ballet played out over infinite millennia, forever churning in the restless flow of time, locked in the embrace of gravitational unity. Vast ages of time pass. Ancient evolution forms in the stars. Gravity guides worlds beyond count into existence. As the stars collapsed and more were driven into the infinite, the impossible happened. The first true life in the universe emerged, victorious, in an arms race of evolutionary barbarism. I suppose I should introduce the Immaterium, the Sea of Souls,
Yeah, you out
the
for
Ether.
what, Derpy?
It has many names. However, it is generally referred to as the Warp, an alternate dimension that has existed as long as the universe itself. Made up of pure psychic energy and raw emotions, the warp is endless, unpredictable, and terribly dangerous to those who cannot harness its power.
Wrong ends.
The first conscious life was the Star Vampires, self-aware entities that appeared in the
Catan?
void between nowhere and nothing. Beings of great power that consumed the energies of stars,
Catan.
feeding on the life force of the planets themselves. These parasites do not differ from any life in the universe. All life desires the same outcome: energy consumption and safety for their offspring. They would, with time, be known as the Catan. The cursed reptilian Old Ones, scraped their primal forms onto the shores of worlds, long dead before even we Necrons evolved to stand upright. The first true sentient beings to cross the vast reaches of the galaxy. They were the first to climb the long trail of evolution and self-awareness.
Oh.
Their ceaseless advances placed them at the top of the pyramid in this galaxy. They traveled through the stars like dust travels on the breeze, and even built what younger races would call the Webway. Through the Webway, the Old Ones seeded life on hundreds of worlds. In their wake, they birthed countless untold species and cultures. Life was cruel to our species. I need not tell you that. Evolving upon a cursed world, falling victim to the scorching heat.
So this is at 71 million.
Evolving upon
71 million years ago or so. So that means around 10 million years after this. That's around the War of Heaven, question mark? Because I thought that was 60 million years ago.
To our species. I need not tell you that. Evolving upon a cursed world, falling victim to the scorching heat of our nearest star, withering our bodies and lives.
Reminder that the Catan were the ones eating the Necrontyr star. Wait, so were they the reason why they were getting space cancer? Because their star was being eaten? And then that was... They got double fucked. Wow, that's so unfortunate. But did they not know? I assume they didn't know until way later, right? It was part of it. So what I'm hearing is that it wasn't necessarily confirmed.
Our suffering evolved our culture and history. We built our empire despite the struggle.
I didn't hear anything about being
pain.
Because of the Catan.
We were worthy.
But I will say this is also from Trazyn's perspective, I guess. So
the gifts the stars had shown to the others. Our leaders met with the Old Ones. We begged for the cure to death, to show us the secrets of immortality. They refused us, refused our desire for life. And in their ignorance, they doomed themselves.
But okay, they also just lived shitty lives even when they moved to other star systems. But wasn't the cancer like so gigamondo in their genetic makeup that even after they moved, generations after would still have the space cancer?
There was no choice for us. We waged war against the tyrants. Countless generations ground to powder beneath the heel of the greedy and the vicious. Even with our unified empire, even with the might of countless worlds and millions of genius warsmiths, the strength of our dynasties was not enough to defeat the Old Ones. The war was lost. The greatest defeat being that we were still cursed to weak, frail lives. The Old Ones banished us to the edges of the galaxy. They forced us into exile on our home world. It was then that the Catan came with their offer. The ancient beings of the cosmos had appeared. They came as gods, promising the gifts we desperately sought. We were all fools to believe them. After the agreements were signed, our people were put in chains and marched into the furnaces. As our flesh and blood was ripped from our bodies, we became the machine. We were betrayed. The Catan, those traitorous sun-eating dogs, feasted on the souls of a whole race, an entire culture. How tragic then that the ambassador for the Catan was named a deceiver.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't...
Our translators misunderstood and believed its name was the messenger.
Oh, so okay, so this is their in-lore explanation for how they were deceived by someone named the Deceiver. Okay. Interesting. Our translators misunderstood. I wonder how much of that is actually them misunderstanding or them being manipulated.
Translators misunderstood and believed its name was the messenger.
I can't believe they asked ChatGPT to translate their
War,
diplomatic relations.
The breaking of the void. The war in heaven. 5 million years of hate and flame. The Old Ones were driven back by the combined force of the Catan and us, their steel slaves. Wherever we Necron tread, life fades like a distant spark in a cold night. The Old Ones, those fools, they grew desperate, creating the Eldar to help them in their losing war. A race of decadent, hedonistic artists.
Oh, the orcs weren't directly created by the Old Ones, right? They started out as the, what is it, the Quarks? Croc? So I know it's like K-O-R-K, Quark. And then when an orc gets strong enough and they become big enough, they become a Quark again, right?
To fight steel gods.
Wait, I thought it was Quark eventually devolved into orc because they weren't fighting as much. The beast got really close. Is that the one that was like super, super big and... Did he fight the Emperor or someone else? Yeah, I was like, didn't they devolve into orcs? That's what you guys said before. And then if an orc gets strong enough, it becomes a Quark again.
Fools.
They
created the fierce Croc, a species that thrives on war and the desire for war. Little did they know of the plague they were creating. And on a small habitable world, it was said that they also seeded baseline primate life. As the last defense strongholds are on the verge of collapse, after we have flayed the minds and spirits of countless Old Ones, they formed their last doomed battle line. As the Old Ones were pushed into a...
Everything that's going on right now, this will be about 60 million. The War of Heaven.
Oblivion, Zarek, the Silent King, led our armies against our slave masters. We turned on the Catan. The Catan were weakened by the war against the Old Ones and the threats of the Aeldari and Croc armies. The Catan were shattered, defeated and placed in our stasis chambers, made to watch from containment as the race they sought to enslave freed themselves. The mighty Catan were not much more than prisoners, forced to watch us live on despite their evil desire. Weakened from the wars, we face the new threats of the multiple DC. Upstart races, the Aeldari, the Croc, and so many more. The Silent King decided our fate. We were to wait in silence as our armies rebuilt. We need not fear time like our puny carbon-based enemies.
And this is where everyone goes into stasis and the Silent King exiles himself, and then he comes across the Tyranids outside the galaxy, and then he comes back and he's like, yo, wake up, bitches.
Enemies.
Question mark?
It is during this time the Aeldari developed their technology at an exponential rate, becoming the dominant force in the universe. It seemed they had advanced their species to immortality.
Good night, Aegon.
But how long could they sustain their own desires? I admit, I am partial to the Aeldari. Their great works are unrivaled. Their ability to will a world into being is haunting. We must speak about the so-called human element, as there...
I will say that, obviously since the Aeldari evolved to become so advanced and they started creating such... Everything started escalating, you know? I can't imagine what it's like to look at Aeldari art. I feel like there would be a sense of awe upon looking at it, just because I imagine they come up with things that we could not possibly conceive in our brains, right? But also, I feel like there would be like a deep sense of emptiness upon looking at Aeldari art. because it feels so incredibly unattainable. Almost like a sense of like, maybe this is too perfect. You know what I mean? I feel like it would be almost sickening to see something that was too perfect. And to see that consistent across an entire species. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense.
Empires take up many
It's almost like
halls
horrifying.
of my museum. Though sometimes unhinged and unpredictable, they are interesting and present true promise for us. We will cover much of their history, difficult as it is with the conflicting dates set by the Imperium itself. But no matter, we will account their records from our own sources. Imperial records will be our guide, or should I say, those Imperial records which I have procured will be our guide. I always found...
Question, sorry, I was just thinking, since you brought up Fulgrim, and then I thought of Slaanesh. So, with the Chaos Marines that are more partial to Slaanesh, I assume Fulgrim, because he's fucking purple. He's hella purple, and he looks like a Naga in his Chaos form, right? Would they be more friendly with the Dark Elder and the Webway? Or no? Because I know there's a lot of infighting among the Chaos. No? Really? Why is that? The Dark Eldar still hates Slaanesh? Oh, I see. So it's basically we serve Slaanesh out of necessity versus you serve Slaanesh because you want to. Oh, it's just racism? Okay, it's space racism. That's per usual.
Of great amusement. They had begun on a small class 54415 planet, on the edge of the galactic arm of the Milky Way. They had first crawled from the primordial ooze as advanced water-based life.
Sorry, let's rewind a little bit.
Guide. Those Imperial records which I have procured will be our guide. I always found them to be of great amusement. They had begun on a small class 54415 planet, on the edge of the galactic arm of the Milky Way. They had first crawled from the primordial ooze as advanced water-based life. To think that glorified fish now wrap the galaxy in an iron fist is enough to burn my central processors to solder. However, as we slept, these fish people became baseline primates, class 4 beings. For much of their early existence, the primitives accomplished little.
That's you, chap.
It was their use of tools that separated them from the other animals of creation. From the first moment a cave-dwelling savage struck a porcine variant with a rock, it was all over. Slowly, they invented pottery and the bringer of security, that is fire. It was then that the warp entities had emerged from the void, the first knowledge of the immaterium. The damage from our wars against gods had ripped wounds in the universe. From these wounds came the apparent gods, extremely powerful creatures that bask in the souls of the dead, growing ever in power.
Are these like rifts in the warp? Because the biggest one is the Eye of Terror, but I imagine there are other rifts, right? Yeah, I guess serve implies... It doesn't necessarily imply a sense of willingness, but I don't blame people for coming to that conclusion. Especially since that's kind of how I used it contextually. Who's Lucius? Not had just a strong duelist? Oh, I see. So he's the one that they would send out if they ever had a representative in combat.
The mortals referred to the beings as the Chaos Gods. They were named Khorne, Tzeentch, and Nurgle. What are three more pathetic void beings against the might of this galaxy? We have killed greater beings before.
Have you?
We may have to do so again. It is at this point that the Aeldari learned the secrets of the Webway and continued their dominance of the stars.
I keep forgetting this is from Trazyn's point of view.
The Imperial myth concerning the birth of their God Emperor is as follows. Seeing the inevitable fate of humanity to be consumed by the Chaos Gods, a group of humanist shamans banded together to stop this future. They had devised a plan to save their species from the thirsting gods committing ritualized mass self-annihilation. As the shamans died and their souls entered the warp, the power of the souls overwhelmed the beings that inhabited that dead void. The soul of their soon-to-be emperor was birthed, and
what is this?
Part of humanity to be considered emperor is as the stars. The Imperial myth concerning the birth of their god emperor is as follows.
Oh, 8,000
Seeing
BC,
the
okay.
inevitable fate of humanity to be consumed by the chaos gods, a group of humanist shamans banded together to stop this future. They had devised a plan to save their species from the thirsting gods committing ritualized mass.
Oh, interesting. So humanity was actually aware of chaos long before in this theory. I assume this is not canon. And this is theoretically how the Emperor came to be.
Self-annihilation. As the shamans died and their souls entered the warp, the power of the souls overwhelmed the beings that inhabited that dead void. The soul of their soon-to-be emperor was birthed and made manifest in his physical form. I must add here, this is perhaps one of my favorite twists of fate in all of history. Deep within a black stone complex, which crashed on Mars before the rise of humanity, is the Noctis Labyrinth. Within walls built 65 million years ago by us, lies the ancient Void Dragon. Imperial myth tells us that it is believed that the Emperor conquered this dragon on Terra.
So, wait, he says it... The dragon was conquered on Terra. Does that... The Emperor moved it? Oh. For what purpose? I think the explanation is that it woke up Emperor Beta and stuffed in Mars to influence the Mechanicus. Oh, into... Dragons metaphorical? That don't look metaphorical. That look very, metaphysical.
After this defeat, it was imprisoned beneath Mars for all time.
Is that one of the Pokeball type things?
Those red-robed, clicking iron princes. After this defeat, it was imprisoned beneath Mars. Oh, that's what the
Void Dragon is there. Oh, okay. I was wondering what he was on when I've seen this art before. Destroying a Catan is a whole thing. Sealing them normally works better. They also make great batteries. Didn't they kill one Catan? But a lot of the others they sealed? I don't know why I think that. There's a dragon called a Helldrake. It's a bitch to paint. I feel like most things are a bitch to paint. The Void Dragon is the good of technology. The Emperor did it to possibly create the Mechanicus. I'm just kind of confused. Okay, here, let's start from square one. So, black stone thingy on Mars that crashed there, or like 65 million years ago, by the Necrons. Necrons put that shit there, right? And then that's the Void Dragon. Void Dragon equal Shard of Catan. Void Dragon go Terra. I don't know why go Terra. Emperor kill on Terra. Terra. Yes? Why it moved from Mars to Terra? The Void Dragon is really weird because it is mentally warping the humans of Mars. Oh. Oh, he was just hungry. Aw. The dude was hungry. And at the time, the Admechs weren't on Mars yet. I assume. Otherwise, they would have been nommed. Okay. Wait, how did it wake up again, though? I don't think it says. It just says that this happened.
The Noctis Labyrinth. Within walls built 65 million years ago by us, lies the ancient Void Dragon. Imperial myth tells us that it is believed that the Emperor conquered this Mars for all time.
Nobody knows, okay.
Little do they know, those red-robed clicking iron princes, that their Void Dragon is a Catan let loose by corrupted slumber codes.
Oh,
I wonder how they would react to the news that its real name is the Eater of Knowledge. The humans began their empire on Terra.
It's just so funny that that all came down to a bug.
Their grasp of technology is slow, They spend much of their time throwing sharpened tree pieces at each other. Terra had a multitude of cultures, each one's god more important than the other. It was during this time that the Chaos Gods had fully awakened. With the abundance of new souls, the Chaos Gods had grown stronger. One human myth is that these events in their early years manifested the gods. Khorne was born in the charnel pits of millions of dead humans. Nurgle vomited into the universe in the wake of the vast catalogue of their illnesses. And Tzeentch during the artistic awakening periods of each unique Terran culture. How arrogant to think that the universe would notice their tiny conflicts. Humans had conquered their homeworld. They had experimented with the possibilities of travel through the Immaterium, still unsure of how to harness its power for space travel. They had developed primitive spacefaring capabilities and set off to terraform their solar system. They have always been amusing creatures, thinking themselves masters of the cosmos, even back when fire was their most advanced achievement.
Let us have this, man.
In essence, they are simple jellyfish, a travesty of nerves that stems from an inferior brain, piloting a suit of bone, wrapped in decaying meat. It is their arrogance that I enjoy so much. They were never meant for the stars, yet they do all to conquer each parsec. They fight amongst themselves more than any enemy. Tranquility makes them squirm. They lived for war. The humans built colonies throughout their nearest world, a slow process due to their primitive spacecraft. They continue to do what they do best, build and breed. Worlds are terraformed and colonized. Sublight travel was their archaic way of colonization, each colony drifting farther from the home world of Terra. Overexpansion resulted in loss of communication. It was only a matter of time before this formula would collapse into bedlam and chaos. As the years drifted on,
Hold on a second. I too am good at breeding. No one in this chat can say that. No one.
countless interstellar empires emerged, trading throughout the galaxies. Most of these supposed empires bore me. They prosper for such short spans of time. One does not even need to remember their futile existence. The humans furthered their grasp on nature, bending any resources they could find to their greed. Colonies stretched into the vast reaches of solar systems, overextending their empire. The myths of the Emperor continue to grow. It is said the Emperor arrived on Molech and found a portal into the Immaterium. A deal was made with the Chaos Gods for the gift of knowledge of warpcraft, allowing the Emperor to create the Primarchs. The Eldar Empire had grown into the most advanced civilization in the universe. They had achieved the apex of technology. Civilization in the universe. They had achieved the apex of technology, creating their own desires from will alone. Lesser races proved no threat to their domination of the stars. The human gene saw an evolutionary jump.
Psychers.
There were sudden appearances of psychers, as they call them. Cursed individuals who can draw power from the Immaterium. Humans who developed the navigator gene allowed the first human navigators to make the passage through the warp. The great navigator bloodlines controlled warp travel. The humans continued to explore and colonize all that they found. Treaties were signed with dozens of Xeno races. It was truly a golden age for humanity. Technology often gets the better of the primitive species that craft it. The promises of comfort and ease of existence has led to the downfall of dozens of species. It was then that man's greatest creations, their slaves, turned on their masters in force. The cybernetic revolt, as it was once called, started with the Men of Iron. Anarchy ripped throughout all of humanity. The golden age of humanity ended.
This is closer
in
to around
brutality.
20k now, right?
Who knows how many billions lost their lives, or what technology was destroyed in the process. Across the stars, another empire fell to time. The Eldar had enjoyed their moment of success. Technology was not their downfall. Their own desires tore them apart. Sheer physical impulses and depravity broke them. Their yearning for lust and pleasure cursed their kind. The being that spawned from their depravity forever changed the course of the stars. It was then that the being known as Slaanesh came to be. The Eye of Terror that came to be from the creation of Slaanesh obliterated almost all of the Eldar. She who thirsts, as some have called Slaanesh, feasted on billions of Aeldari souls. Some of the Aeldari forsook.
I wonder if in Eldar culture, in order to... Since the Eldar live so long, right? I was just wondering if they... Because you have to think of all types of cruelty they would come up with. And I just think, do you think that there's a possibility that they have couples that have been together for centuries and centuries and centuries, or like millennia, right? And they will just kill one of them off to see them miserable? I wonder how that would scale on the misery that would feed Slaanesh. Because I just think all your interpersonal relationships must either be incredibly deep-seated or the opposite. Well, because now you can eat them, right? If I was an Eldar, I would still feel kind of insecure. Like, what if one time you can't respawn? I could definitely see it happening as a prank. But like, I don't know, even if I was an Eldar, I'd still be... But I guess they were really complacent, right? They were very complacent, very arrogant. So they probably wouldn't have the same doubts that I would. They're not Overthinker's final boss.
Or the dark future and left their homeworlds behind. The craft worlds were all that was left of them now. Vast, floating cities that are slowly fading away. As a fan of theatrical renditions of historical events, I find the performances from this era to be especially entertaining.
Well, cannibalism is the ultimate form of
The humans had peaked in
love.
their scientific advances. The historical blueprints, or as they are more commonly known,
STCs?
the standard template constructs,
Yay,
became
I'm
the
learning!
database of all human technology.
You distract.
Humanity was plagued with warp storms that appeared throughout the far reaches of the galaxy. Warp travel was impossible, and the colonies began to erode. This is a difficult time for my collection. Almost all the important artifacts had been stolen by that damned Mechanicus. Ugh, if only I were awake during this time.
Is this when the Admex went and woke up the Necrons? I know he says if only I were awake during this time, but like woke up some of them, and because they wanted to investigate the technology there, right? Not yet. Most of the Necrons woke up more in the 40k era. Oh, so still like 15,000 years to go. Trazyn woke up shortly before the Great Crusade, as he has a Thunder Warrior in his collection. Shortly before the Great Crusade, so that would be around... $39? $29? Hold on, let me think. Emperor created 30k. Or I guess Emperor becomes public 30k. He's like, yeah, I'm the ruler of all you bitches. And then Great Crusade shortly after. And then Horus heresy around that time. Right? And then he sits on that ship for like 10k years.
The humans are easy candidates
Present
for
would
the
be considered
corruptive
40k,
powers
right?
that inhabit the warp. Through the warp storms, psychic energy flowed into space. The weaker of humanity's psychers suffered from demonic possession.
Ew.
The human race tore itself apart. The Emperor of Mankind began his plans for domination. He began work on creating the gene seeds that would lead to the formation of his 20 sons, or as they are more commonly referred to, Primarchs. Imperial record fails to state exactly how this event occurred. It only states the Primarch embryos were scattered throughout the galaxy. All blame is laid at the feet of the Chaos Gods for this deed. But who can really say? The Emperor set out on his quest to find the missing Primarchs. My sleep was suddenly over. Myself and other High Lords awakened from our slumber. My initial excitement evaporated as the realization of how much...
So this is kind of just before the Great Crusade, because he's looking for the Primarchs now. He finds all the Primarchs, then he starts the Great Crusade. Because the Great Crusade got delayed because the Primarchs were all scattered, right? I think.
Time had passed. I had to continue my work. It was my duty to my dynasty to store the relics of our past. Even that miserable little pile of secrets Urakin was awakened.
Oh, it was
However,
a long way, okay.
This was not our time to reclaim our galaxy. What a time to be awake, to witness this short era of grandeur.
I see.
This story of this era contains artifacts that are amongst my favorites in all of my museum.
So 31,000 almost. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I kept getting confused because usually when I think of the Great Crusade, I think of Horus being sent on it and continuing it.
The warp
so in my
storms
head,
that
it starts
plagued
there for some
mankind
reason.
for over 5,000 years drifted away. The Emperor of Mankind was known as the greatest psyker in history. He united the people under his rule during the Unification Wars. He made a pact with the cult Mechanicus on Mars. He expanded the human empire while discovering his wayward sons. The blood that was spilled was that of legend. The humans had set to take hold of the galaxy, swallowing everything in their path. Unity was always their strength, yet they denied it at every chance they could. The Emperor was the key to their survival. He colored his legions and sent his sons to fight his wars.
Sorry, I was looking at all the different Space Marines.
I witnessed such glorious battles during this period. So
Interesting when
much
he says
occurred
glorious.
during these times. So much to record, to document, to preserve. The artifacts from this era are amongst some of my favorites. The Primarchs had been found and sent on their various quests for the Emperor. The Great Crusade had come to an end. Humanity had become the dominant life in the universe. Imperial history recording events during these times had been subverted. So much has been altered to appease the masses, to appease the Inquisition and the religious maniacs. What is known as fact is the Emperor's favorite son, Horus, had betrayed the Emperor. He and half of his brothers rebelled against the Imperium, and I was there to see it play out. The Battle of Istvan III was where the treachery transpired, with blade and firearm. To see the armored warriors battle, brother against brother, it was as beautiful as it was tragic.
That was Horus?
Battle of Ithas rebellion.
This is Horus. No, but I thought that one,
The Imperium,
who has the thingies in his head, was Abaddon. Do they both have it? Also Horus? Oh, they both have it. Okay, I thought only Abaddon had the wire tentacle thingies. Okay. Oh my.
play out. The Battle of Istvan III was where the treachery transpired, with blade
Oh, he has a
and firearm.
ponytail. I see.
To see the armored warriors battle, brother against brother, it It was as beautiful as it was tragic.
You love the cracked up
I
video
remember
about
being
Cadia?
impressed by the humans.
Link it.
My theory of their hatred of peace was proven once again. How they loved to fight. The eternal war had begun. Above Terra, another civil war had already begun brewing. The Mechanicum split into two. The Red Robes believe in a being they named the Omnisire. Many believe the Emperor was not the true avatar of the machine god. Many believe that the Emperor is, in fact, the Omnisire made flesh.
Isn't it kind of backwards to think that their machine god would want a flesh body when they believe that machinery is superior? Why would it manifest in a flesh body? Isn't that kind of almost heretical? It's because of the myth of the Void Dragon? I guess that would make a believer out of them. I can understand from their perspective.
An epic battle took place above what the humans had once called the Earth. The traitor sons of the Emperor invaded the human homeworld.
When was this?
The traitor sons of the Emperor invaded the human homeworld. They had come to kill the Emperor and take control of the Imperium. This was a staggering battle for beings such as humans. The final battle occurred between Horus and the Emperor after millions were killed by their blood brothers. The final blows were landed by the Emperor and his favorite son Horus. A clash that left the Emperor fatally wounded. It is a shame what happened. The Emperor slew Horus, who, in fairness, had it coming. Much to my annoyance, those loyal to Horus managed to steal his remains away. How I wished to have Horus's armor in my collection. I have spent many centuries harvesting rumors of the remains of the arch-traitor. The fatally wounded Emperor was interred in the Golden Throne, a technological marvel from humanity's old world. Technology the Mechanicus hardly understood. This was the end of the human reign of superiority. It had come to a glorious finale. The fact that I'm reasonably confident that the Golden Throne is our technology is not important. The times following the Horus heresy were boring in comparison. Humans fell back once again into predictability. It was black or white from then on. The Loyalists gradually reclaimed the Imperium, pushing the traitor forces that aligned with the Chaos Gods back into the warp. The 9 Loyalist Space Marine legions are divided and began their own quests throughout the galaxy. The humans desperately wanted their place at the top. As they struggled, other races grew in strength across the galaxy. The Drukhari had formed back when Slaanesh the Depraved was birthed. They saw the event as inevitable and accepted their evolutionary destiny. They are a brutal race, arrogant, hedonist, and vile for the sake of nefariousness. There were none in the galaxy who rivaled their cruelty. A slave in the city of Komora named Vect swore to be the ruler of the Dark City. He was ambitious and founded his own group known as the Cult of the Black Heart. With a devious plan, he betrayed the leaders of Komora and had the humans kill his enemies.
Is Komora the webway with the Dark Elder? Vect is really great. Vect is the leader, right, of... I don't remember which part of the Aeldari.
With the leaders weakened, Vect took power and led the Dark Elder.
What
he led them towards is...
This is the one you guys said was really cool, right?
And founded his own Vect, swore who rivaled their cruelty. A slave in the city of Komora named Vect betrayed with the leaders weakened, Vect took power and led the Dark Elder. What he led them towards is unknown. These beasts created nothing, they offered nothing. They reveled in suffering just as the Catan did. They are beneath our regard, but have earned our disgust. The Orcs attempted to claim their position at the top of the evolutionary chain. The ancient race had swelled in numbers over the millennia. An Orc war boss known as The beast
Oh,
built
this
an
is the
impressive
big dude that
army
fought,
rampaged
fought
the
Vulcan.
universe. It was during this time that the Greenskins became a threat to all. I find them to be similar in
Racist.
some ways to the humans, warring against each other, obsessed with power, obsessed with what both races call loot. Loot. What a crude word. Both
Make 'em
believe
play
their
Borderlands.
technology to be superior to all. Another life form that idolizes the spirit of war, the Astartes, were able to stop the Green Wave, at great costs, however. A new species emerged from the dust of the cosmos. The flesh robotics first discovered the Tau on a distant world. The Adeptus Mechanicus ship, Land's vision, found the primitive species. The blue creatures were simple in nature, having only learned to use simple tools and fire. Simple creatures that were of no threat, but still, their elimination was ordered as they were to be destroyed for the good of the Imperium. Before the planet could be annihilated, it was surrounded by a violent warp storm.
Oh.
The wars soon to take place changed the fate of their world.
So it wasn't just that the tower ignored. There was actually a reason, and then they were like, oh well, they're not a threat anyways. We'll get to it when we get to it, when the warp storm's done. But then they came out of the warp storm and they evolved a ton.
The Imperium abandoned their plans for colonization and left the species to their fate. I am sure the Imperium uses this story to drive their agendas. The Tau were able to unite under one banner. They claimed to stand for the cause of the greater good, a seemingly effective form of governance. As the centuries passed, the Tau built their empire, diving into different castes. You may encounter them. They will speak of all these castes, bar one, the Ethereals. These ruling beings are conveniently forgotten about in the Tau propaganda. These faceless elites are the true ruling class of the Tau.
The Tau have like the fire, earth, water, air, and then the ethereals, right?
The fire caste are the fist used to quell rebellion. The earth caste show off their medical capabilities to lowly serfs. The air caste blockade worlds and offer free transports. And of course, the water caste, those silver-tongued
Oh, they're
diplomats.
supposed to be fiends.
They promise so much to anyone with the oral receptors to hear.
That's so condescending.
These upstart fledgling fools must learn to tread carefully. They do not have the ability to confront the Imperium that they berate. Only Father Time will tell whether these masters of masquerade will live or die.
Okay, I gotta say, now that we're 32 minutes into this video, shockingly, right? When you said Trazyn might use some big words, so no shame, I'm wondering where the big words were. The only thing that confuses me for the most part is hearing a bunch of proper nouns. There's so many proper nouns to keep track of. And I'm trying to also correlate imagery to the proper nouns at the same time.
Another rise in power for the awful
38,000.
orcs. Centuries of crusading had weakened the Imperium. Humanity teetered on the verge of collapse. The orc invasions were relentless. Even worse, the more the orcs suffered, the more they grew. Countless star systems fell to the Green Wave. It is their chaotic nature that holds them back from remaining atop their evolutionary chain. A culture predicated on the desire to be bigger and stronger than the rest can only go so far without true governance. Even with their simplicity, the damage they caused almost destroyed the humans. It was not our time to rise. Our armies were set to awake at a later date.
The Great Awakening.
However,
Oh, so this
our
is
two
when the
worlds were
Admex will come
invaded
up.
by the Adeptus Mechanicus on their quest to find the lost standard template constructs.
For anyone
They
cares.
discovered our tomb worlds. Their curiosity and their degradation of the slumber protocols led to countless members of our race awakening. 65 million years of slumber. It was our time to rule the galaxy once more, to reclaim what we had died for. Our metallic bodies regenerated. Our weaponry was to mortals what the storm was to the stone. More of our tombs were awakened. our armies began their conquest. The Silent King took back his rightful seat on the throne. It is our time once again. How the humans love to hold their martyrs up for all to see. No single world
The
is a great...
fall of Cadia. This is so sad, chat. F in the chat for Cadia.
greater martyr than Cadia. In truth, I had believed the Terran method of time recording, BC, stood for before Cadia. They speak of this planet so often during battle. It was a world of much importance to the Imperial, and to be frank, the galaxy. The fall of Cadia is a loss. It was a weapon designed to remove the warp from our reality.
So this is pretty recent in Warhammer lore, right? Because this is 41,000.
And to be frank, before truth, I had no
You're
single
42,000
world is a
nearly.
great so often during battle.
So when did this the stuff about Cadia come out in terms of like did it come out like 2018 or what? 2008. Oh. I'm always curious as to whether certain developments happened, like where certain developments happened relative to our actual real time. 2017.
It was a world of much importance to the Imperial. And to be frank,
well, I wasn't too far,
galaxy.
I guess.
The fall of Cadia is a loss. It was a weapon designed to remove the warp from our reality. Its loss must be lamented.
A warp from our reality.
Is a
oh.
And to be frank, the galaxy. The fall of Cadia is a loss. It was a weapon designed to remove the warp from our reality. Its loss must be lamented. During the 13th Black Crusade, the War Master of Chaos, Abaddon the Despoiler...
Oh, there's his
launched
ponytail. This is Horus's successor, and that's why he has the claw. Oh, he doesn't have his little tentacle thingies.
Massive assault against the Loyalists. A unfathomable war broke out, and the planet was eventually destroyed. It was a significant loss for the Imperium.
That is
losing
sick.
Such a beautiful world to their own traitorous kind.
Oh, so they lost Cadia to
losing
the
such
Chaos
a beautiful
Marines.
world to their own traitorous kind.
That is very poetic.
One of the greater threats faced by the mortal races of the galaxy are the beings we labeled the Great Devourers, the Tyranids. The humans named them the Tyranids after their attack and consumption.
Abaddon rammed a moon-sized starship into Cadia? Abaddon the Despoiler was rage bait in the Black Crusade and he threw a battle station because he couldn't take it. It's so funny to hear people summarize events like this. Abaddon spent his first 12 crusades to destroy Cadia and his 13th. Whereabouts is Cadia relative to the rest of the year? Well, actually, if I remember correctly, Horus's philosophy in following chaos wasn't actually that bad. It's right outside the Eye of Terror. Oh. Because that was the, like, last line of defense type thing, right? Yikers. That seems like a really shit location to have something super giga important like that. Was there no way to migrate it? Or was it the planet itself? In the other video, I swear it was described as like the last line of defense, but maybe I just associate it with Cadia. Cadia was supposed to be a fortress on the edge of the Eye of Terror. Oh, okay. So it needed to be there specifically. I wasn't sure because I was like, is it something on the planet that is supposed to rid reality of the warp? Cadia was part of a Necron device to hold back the warp. It's why when Cadia was destroyed, the Eye of Terror expanded to cut the galaxy in half. Oh. I had no idea that Cadia was that important until now. I knew Cadia was important and people brought it up a lot, but I didn't know the actual plot reasons.
Tyrant Primus, revolting insectoid
well, that's what I was wondering if
creatures
it's
that
like the
swarm
actual
world
planet
after
itself.
world, consuming everything that stands in their path. All life is consumed by these creatures, consumed, studied, and improved on. Though they appear as mindless animals, they are sublimely clever beings. They have demonstrable hierarchies. They adapt and evolve in the moment to conquer any situation. Little is known of their history. There are no records of them before the Great Sleep. They appeared from the deepest reaches of space. The humans first discovered the creatures in the eastern fringes. Rumor has been said that they were first seen by the Inquisition as far back as the 35th millennium. Speculation and rumors, of course.
I'm guessing that would just be like some inquisitor that fucked off to explore the galaxy and then they reported back, having discovered the the Tyranids. Sorry, my eyes are cheap.
But I still enjoy this discord. It is said that they have begun to surround our galaxy.
Well, Tyranids came from outside the galaxy.
Conquest, after being drawn by the Emperor's light within the void. I cannot say if this is true or not. Others believe they are being pushed back, chased into our regions of space. All of this poses a great question.
I can't imagine. You're looking out the window of your spaceship and this is what you see. Genuinely incomprehensible. What the?
Into our regions of space. All of this poses a great question. Are these beasts coming to this galaxy after having consumed everything they could in their own? Or, and this is not the ideal case, are they running from something greater? If they continue their rude interruption of the drama that is the galaxy's unfolding history,
Trazyn's so extra, dude.
I may have to add a new section to the gallery.
They get bigger than that?
Perhaps I will name it A Brief History of the Tyranid Species.
How often do they encounter new Tyranid species? Because I imagine they're consistently evolving, right? But like on the edges of the galaxy, you can assume that it's something that probably existed a while ago. Every battle? Can you... my stress levels, if I was like fighting Tyranids, would be fucking through the roof. Because you just never know what you're gonna see. The hive ship starts dissolving the home. The people inside get swarmed by bugs. Yeah, that checks out. As far as I understand, it's often because the nids will evolve to counterattack whatever's stopping them at any point. I imagine it's like little variations over and over again between the Tyranids. Every change in enemy tactics, every new environment, they make a new bug. How horrifying. Hi, Chestnut.
The universe is at unrest. The rapidly growing threats to the galaxies have increased as the weak find power. All of us are grasping for our rightful place on the throne of the universe. All empires rise and fall. It is the destiny of all life to fade away. Life is a struggle for all who have fought to survive. Even the smallest of life forms face this turmoil. The weak become dust in the infinite darkness, never to be remembered. To rank which species stand at the top would be irrelevant in the current turmoil. They all cling to their spot, each battle and war gaining favor, or falling to the side to rise again. The great empires of the past have all earned their place in my halls. They each have a place in the history of the galaxy. The future of the universe will continue. Others will try to gain their spot, as did all the great empires of the past. It is a pitiful attempt. All life will wither and die. There is only one race that will succeed them all. We are immortal. We have learned from our mistake. We will rule our galaxy once again. But humanity, in its rapidly breeding expansion, has offered us what we never thought possible. A means to return to the flesh times.
We did?
We are the
How?
infinite.
I don't believe that they learn from their mistakes. Okay, so after watching 3 timeline videos, I think I have a somewhat decent grasp